Nestled in the sun-scorched canyons of southern Jordan, the ancient city of Petra stands as a testament to human ingenuity. Carved into rose-red cliffs by the Nabataeans over 2,000 years ago, this UNESCO World Heritage Site is famed for its rock-cut architecture, like the iconic treasury. But beneath its grandeur lies a lesser-known marvel, a sophisticated water management system that transformed an arid wasteland into a thriving hub of trade and culture. Today, archaeologists and engineers continue to unravel how the Nabataeans defied the desert, turning Petra into an oasis of resilience and innovation. The Nabataeans, a nomadic Arab people who rose to prominence around the 4th century BCE, chose a challenging home. Petra sits in a rugged basin surrounded by steep mountains, receiving just 100 to 150 millimeters of rain annually, barely enough to sustain life. Flash floods, triggered by rare downpours, posed a lethal threat, while prolonged droughts could spell starvation. Yet, by the 1st century BCE, Petra was a bustling metropolis, supporting tens of thousands of residents, and hosting caravans along the incense route from Arabia to the Mediterranean. The secret? A water system so advanced it rivaled the engineering feats of Rome, built with an intimate understanding of their unforgiving terrain. The Nabataeans turned scarcity into abundance by harnessing every drop of water available. Their system began with meticulous collection. They carved channels into the cliffs to capture rainwater, directing it from high slopes into a network of cisterns and reservoirs. Over 200 underground cisterns, some holding up to 300 cubic meters, have been identified across Petra, ensuring a steady supply during dry spells. These were often plastered with waterproof lime to prevent seepage into the porous sandstone, a technique that showcased their practical chemistry. Smaller catchments, called karsna, dotted the landscape, funneling runoff from even minor showers into communal storage. Springs, though scarce, were sacred to the Nabataeans. The Ain Musa, Spring of Moses, and Ain al-Biyara, located just outside the city, were tapped with precision. Channels and clay pipes, some still intact, funneled this water over kilometers into Petra's heart. The Nabataeans even built small settling tanks along these routes to filter sediment, maintaining clean flow. Beyond springs, they exploited shallow groundwater by digging wells into the wadi beds, a labor-intensive process that tapped hidden aquifers replenished by seasonal floods. This wasn't just survival, it was a calculated effort to sustain a civilization. Petra's location in the Seek, a narrow gorge that serves as its main entrance, made it vulnerable to flash floods. The Nabataeans turned this liability into an asset with ingenious hydraulic engineering. They constructed a massive dam at the Seek's entrance, diverting floodwaters into a tunnel carved through solid rock. This 88-meter-long conduit, rediscovered in the 1990s, rerouted the Wadi Musa's torrents away from the city, protecting its temples and tombs. Smaller check dams and terraced slopes slowed runoff, reducing erosion and channeling water into storage basins. Archaeologists have marveled at the precision of these structures. The dam's design required an understanding of hydrology and topography, skills likely honed through generations of desert living. By controlling floods, the Nabataeans not only safeguarded Petra, but also harvested the deluge, transforming a destructive force into a life-giving resource. Evidence suggests they even used silt traps, shallow pits along channels, to capture fertile sediment, which they spread on fields to boost agriculture in the surrounding valleys. Once collected, water was distributed with remarkable efficiency. A network of open channels, aqueducts, and underground pipes crisscrossed Petra, delivering water to public fountains, baths, and elite homes. The Treasury's Plaza, for instance, featured a basin fed by a hidden conduit, while the Great Temple had a subterranean canal system. Some pipes were made of interlocking ceramic segments, sealed with bitumen, a technology paralleled in Mesopotamia, demonstrating the Nabataeans' knack for adapting foreign innovations. Pressure regulators, small stone blocks with narrowed openings, maintained steady flow across steep gradients, a detail that hints at advanced hydraulic knowledge. This system supported more than just drinking water. Gardens bloomed in Petra, with evidence of irrigation channels feeding date palms, figs, and olives, crops that bolstered trade and diet. Public baths and a nymphaeum, a monumental fountain, suggest a culture that valued cleanliness and leisure, defying the harshness of their surroundings. Estimates suggest Petra's system could store and distribute up to 40 million liters annually, a feat that sustained a population of 20,000 to 30,000 at its peak. Household cisterns, found in residential areas like the Sancha Ridge, indicate that even common families had private reserves, reflecting a society where water access was democratized to an extent. Water wasn't just a resource for the Nabataeans, it was a cornerstone of their identity. Their god Dushara, linked to fertility and storms, was worshipped at high places where springs emerged. Ritual pools and carvings of water channels near shrines hint at ceremonies tied to rain and renewal. This reverence likely drove their engineering zeal, blending practicality with piety. Some scholars argue that their water systems doubled as symbols of power, showcasing their mastery over nature to visiting traders and rival kingdoms. Rock reliefs depicting camels laden with goods alongside water channels suggest a narrative of prosperity tied to their hydraulic success. The Nabataeans didn't develop their system in isolation. Their position on the incense route exposed them to ideas from Egypt, Persia, and the Hellenistic world. The use of lime plaster echoes Persian qanats, underground aqueducts, while their terracing resembles techniques from Yemen's Sabian kingdom. Yet, they refined these influences with local flair, using sandstone-specific sealants, and tailoring flood controls to Petra's unique geology. Some experts believe they employed rudimentary surveying tools, like weighted plumb lines, to achieve the precise gradients seen in their channels, a skill that predates Roman leveling instruments. Petra's water system thrived until the Roman annexation in 106 CE, when new rulers expanded it with aqueducts and reservoirs. But by the 4th century CE, earthquakes and shifting trade routes weakened the city. A devastating quake in 363 CE damaged key infrastructure, and as maintenance faltered, Petra faded into obscurity. The Bedouin, who later roamed the region, knew its secrets, but it wasn't until Swiss explorer Johann Ludwig Burckhardt rediscovered Petra in 1812 that the world took note. Excavations since the 20th century, aided by modern tools like ground-penetrating radar, have revealed the full scope of its hydraulic genius. Recent digs near the colonnaded street uncovered a previously unknown reservoir, hinting at even greater capacity than once thought. Today, the Petra water system offers more than historical awe, it's a blueprint for sustainability. As climate change intensifies droughts in the Middle East, engineers study Nabataean techniques for harvesting and conserving water in arid zones. The use of local materials, gravity-fed channels, and flood control mirrors strategies in modern rainwater harvesting projects. In 2025, a Jordanian-Italian team is mapping unexcavated cisterns with drones, hoping to uncover how the system adapted over centuries. Meanwhile, UNESCO is funding efforts to restore parts of the Sikh tunnel, both to preserve it and to test its flood diversion capacity against modern storms. The Nabataeans' success also reveals a lost landscape. Fossilized pollen in cistern sediments shows Petra once bordered scrublands with juniper and pistachio trees, sustained by carefully managed water. Their ability to cultivate in such conditions suggests a delicate balance, disrupted as the climate aridified further in late antiquity. This environmental shift, paired with seismic damage, likely hastened Petra's decline, a cautionary tale for today's water-stressed regions. How did the Nabataeans defy the desert? Through a blend of engineering prowess, environmental mastery, and cultural devotion, they turned Petra into a beacon of resilience. Their water system wasn't merely functional, it was a lifeline that fueled a golden age, connecting distant worlds through trade and ideas. As we ponder their achievements, Petra's silent channels and weathered cisterns whisper a timeless truth, that in the face of adversity, ingenuity can carve a path to survival. Their legacy challenges us to adapt and innovate, much as they did. Thank you for watching. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content on ancient mysteries, spirituality, and self-development.